Okay, so just finding your really nice alignment here. So have your feet about hip width apart. Have a little look at the outside edges of your feet and try and get them as straight as you can. And then back your weight up through your heels so that your toes are free. Give your toes a little wriggle just to show that they're free and you aren't pressing all of your weight down and scrunching them into the floor. And then find that neutral pelvis. So we're not tucking our bottom right under, not sticking it right out. It's kind of halfway between those 2 points. And then let your ribs just relax down. Nice and wide through the chest and shoulders, arms are down by your sides. Looking into the distance and thinking about growing tall through the crown of your head. Let's just take 3 really deep breaths here, just to let go of tension. Go at your own pace. And as you exhale, just let everything be as relaxed as you can. Do a couple more breaths there. Check your jaw, just notice anywhere that you might be holding. And then when you finish with that final deep breath, do keep breathing, but let's start to gently turn our head side to side. So as you turn your head side to side, you're just noticing if there's any tension, any tightness in your neck anywhere. And you're just seeing if you can just move smoothly side to side. Let your shoulders relax. Still keep taking those deep breaths. And then as you come through center this time, hold on, let's do some shoulder rolls. Let your arms just hang really loose as you circle your shoulders around. And then reverse that circle and go the other way. Alright, and then hold there. Bring your shoulders up to your ears as high as you can. Take your shoulders back as far as you can. Pull those shoulders down and then bring them all the way forward. So it's just a really exaggerated circle. So we're all the way forwards. We're going to come up to the ears. Take it back as far as you can. Pull the shoulders down and bring them forward. So let's just do a couple more. So really exaggerating that shoulder circle, getting as much movement there as you can. And then reverse that and go the other way. So really pulling the shoulders back and up and forwards. Even that is really nice to mobilize and just get rid of any tension, any tightness that you might be holding on to there. And then just let that go. Reach one arm up to the ceiling, reach that arm as high as you can, and then reach the other arm up. So just take a moment to stretch each arm in turn up towards the ceiling. And then let's take both arms up, stretching as tall as you can, reach your fingertips to the ceiling. And then let your arms come all the way down by your sides. Just letting your arms swing free now, just side to side. Just making sure that you aren't gripping and holding anywhere. All right. So we're going to start with using either a block if you've got one or a book. Something that if you drop it, it's not going to get damaged. But hopefully we're not going to be dropping it. And we're going to hold it, so just hold it in your hand. And then can you just reach that arm up towards the ceiling, that book, that block up towards the ceiling and lower it down. So we're just looking at the movement that we've got at the shoulder there. Noticing, is it a bit creaky, a bit clicky? Does it move freely? How does it feel? And then let's take that arm out to the side. Again, does it move freely? Any clicking? I don't know what that is. Clicking and creaking. Out to the side. How about if you hold it out at the side and you turn that arm in and out, so that internal and external rotation coming from your shoulder. Alright, and let's do the same on the other side. So grab your block with your other hand and again lifting up and down. So you can do it with your palm facing up, your palm facing down. It doesn't really matter. We're just using this for mobility, and it's kind of nice to maybe do both ways and see how it feels. Is it the same on this side? Is there any restrictions that's stopping you from lifting that arm on this side? Is it easier on this side? Again, let's take it out to the side. How does it feel on this side? again, holding it out, and let's do that internal and external rotation all the way from your shoulder, so it's not just that lower arm, the whole arm is going. All right. So just getting everything moving. Let's go back to the first side. So take it back into your first hand. Now, what I want you to do now is to grab your top of your shoulder, so where your neck and your shoulder meet, the trapezius muscle there. This tends to be the one that wants to get involved in everything and is always really tight. So use your free hand to kind of hold that, and we're going to try and keep that down as we lift and lower that block in front. So let's try it with kind of the palm facing down first. Can you lift that arm whilst keeping this area as relaxed as possible? Try it if you flip the hand over. Again, can you keep that area as relaxed and down so that it's not having to come up every time you lift your arm? And that might be a little bit of work. That's okay. All right, how about if we take it out to the side? Can you again still keep this area nice and relaxed? And just think about just moving your arm. So that other hand coming around just gives you a little bit of feedback. It helps you to feel what's happening there, because often it moves and you don't even know, because it's just such a natural movement to you that you don't even notice. How about that internal and external rotation there? Can you keep it quiet there? Especially as you go into that internal rotation, it's really common for that whole shoulder to roll forward. So can you keep that down and just think about the arm bone moving in the shoulder socket, in the shoulder joint. All right. And then lowering that arm down, can you take that hand over your back now to try and find your shoulder blade? Can you reach your shoulder blade here? And then can you take that block or that book behind you? So I'm going to palm facing forward, so we're in that external rotation. Can you take that arm back? And then just bringing it forwards again and take it back. Notice if there's a lot of movement in your shoulder blade, can you try and keep that shoulder blade fairly still? You might not be able to, but just notice. Is it moving all over the place? Can you keep it fairly still as you take that arm back? And then holding your block behind, can you do that internal and external rotation behind? And again, is your shoulder blade, is your scapula like wobbling around all over the place, or can you keep it still as you roll that arm in and out? Good. All right, and then let it go. Give everything a little shake. Just turning your head side to side, just letting go of any tension, any tightness that you're starting to hold. We're going to do the same on the other side. So let's have palm facing up this time. And again, using your other hand to find that trapezius muscle. So again, it's the meaty bit where your neck and shoulder join, the bit that always feels like, oh, it needs a little bit of massage, a bit of love. Trying to keep that down and relaxed as you lift and lower your arm, holding your block or your book. Is it the same on this side? Sometimes you have one side where it's almost impossible to keep it down and keep it relaxed. Good. How about if you flip your hand over and try it that way? Good. All right, should we take it out to the side? Flip it again so your palm's facing up. You're in that external rotation. That's where we want to try and work most of the time. Lifting and lowering here. How relaxed is your neck and shoulder? Are you trying to use this to do the work? How about if we do that internal and external rotation coming from the shoulder? How does that feel? And again, you're looking to try and keep everything relaxed and down and not have that big kind of hike up of the whole shoulder as you twist. All right, taking that block behind you. So again, we're in that external rotation. Your palm's going to face forwards. And taking that block behind and swinging it forwards. And you take your hand a little bit further, see if you can find your shoulder blade on your back. So going a little bit further down, finding that shoulder blade. You try and keep it as still as possible, and it might mean that you need to widen your shoulder blades, or think about pulling your shoulder blades down a little bit if they're up around your ears. Kind of find the point at which you can hold it stable. So for me, I've had to almost bring my shoulder around a little bit to be able to hold it stable. And then holding it back, again, can you do your internal and external rotation whilst trying to keep your shoulder blade as still as you can. So you don't want to be creating loads and loads of tension by trying to keep it still if it's wobbling all over the place. You just want to notice, okay, I can't keep it still here, and I'm going to try and work on that a little bit and start to do exercises there that are going to help with stability, which is all of the stuff that we're doing now. All right, let it go. Give your shoulders a little shake and just turning your head side to side. Grab your strap now. So let's grab that strap. And if you've got a super long strap, you might want to double it over. We're going to take the strap behind. And we want to have our arms in that external rotation, so your palms are going to face forwards, yeah? Because if you have the palms facing back, you're encouraging that rounded shoulder rolling in position. So, palms are facing forwards. And we're going to lift the strap behind us without lifting the ribs, without having to shift your hips forward. Try and keep everything where it is, and can you lift and lower that strap behind you? So just play with that a little bit, lifting and lowering there. Don't have to go wild, just play with that movement. Now if you're finding it really difficult, take your hands a little bit wider. The wider your hands are, the easier it's going to be, the more range you're going to have. And obviously the more narrow your hands are, the harder it's going to be. So pick your own adventure there. How does it feel? Notice as you lift that strap, whether you are poking your head forward. So can you think about ramping that head up, keeping your ears in line with your shoulders as you lift your strap behind. All right. Can you lift that strap behind and hold it there? Can you squeeze your shoulder blades together in your back? We're going to add that hinging forwards now. So we're going to hinge forwards. You can bend your knees. And can you lift your arms as high as you can? Now if you want to, you can round all the way down. Let your head relax if that feels okay for you. And how high can you reach your arms towards the ceiling? I'm going to hold here and take some deep breaths. Now if letting your head hang just makes you feel a little bit dizzy, you can kind of pick your head up so that your eyes are looking straight down towards the floor, and it just makes you feel a little bit less kind of dizzy. Are you still squeezing your shoulder blades together? Have a notice whether your shoulders have kind of dropped towards the floor. Can you use the muscles between your shoulder blades to kind of pick those shoulder blades up away from the floor so they're not collapsing down? And then we're going to gently come on up. So bend your knees and just come on up. Give your arms a little rest. Give your shoulders a little shake out and just gently turn your head side to side. Just kind of letting go of that there. And bring your strap to the front. Palms are going to face behind you. And again, let's go a little bit wider than your hips. And take your strap up towards the ceiling. Now only go as high as you can keep your ribs down. So if you lift too high and your ribs start lifting, then just don't go that high, and then just lower back down. Do that again, lifting just as high as you can without the ribs, and lowering down. Let's do a few of those. Notice as well as you lift, is your weight shifting forwards? Can you try and keep your weight back through your heels? And as your arms come up towards the ceiling this time, wherever they are, whether they're in front or to the ceiling, wherever they are, can you take both arms to one side? So we're not doing a side bend, we're just taking the arms and the shoulders side to side. A little bit of a stretch. And then hold it up towards the ceiling and do a little twist of your upper body and come back through centre and twist. And through centre, and again a little twist. And a little twist, and then come back through centre and lower your strap down. Little shoulder circles there, and go the other way. We're going to go to that strap behind again. So remember, you're going to have your palms facing forwards, hands a little bit wider than your hips. You can go even wider if you need to. So we're going to do that forward fold again, and remember you can bend your knees as much as you need to. So we're going to pull our shoulder blades together, holding onto your strap, forward fold, bend your knees and reach your arms towards the ceiling. So you can stay here if you want to, in that kind of flat back position, or you can round all the way down, letting your arms reach up towards the ceiling. Take some deep breaths. If you can't get your arms pointing towards the ceiling, give yourself more room with your strap. Give yourself more range. Can you relax your jaw here? Can you squeeze your shoulder blades together? Can you pick your shoulders up so they're not dropping towards the floor? So think about using the muscles between your shoulder blades to kind of pick them up and to hold them in place. And where's your weight? Is it forwards in your toes? Can you back your weight up through your heels? Trying to get a bit of a vertical shin. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. You can rest your chest on your thighs if you want to here. And then we're going to again slowly come up and out of that. And bring your strap in front again. Palms face behind. And reaching your strap up towards the ceiling. And then just bringing it back down. And again. Up and down. Try not to lift the ribs. Trying to keep your weight back through your hips. Good. Watch for that head poking through as you bring your arms up. Are you tempted to poke your chin? Can you keep your head over your shoulders? Can you keep your shoulders down and relax as much as possible? So as you lift your strap, your whole shoulder coming up, is your neck disappearing into your shoulders? Can you keep the shoulders down as you lift the arms up? As you go up this time again, just to your maximum position, let's go side to side again, kind of pull in the strap, one side to the other. Alright. And then gently lowering your strap all the way down. Just give your shoulders a little roll and turn your head gently from side to side. Okay, we're going to come down onto the floor now. So come down onto your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on. Remember, if you need something under your head, then absolutely pop it there, especially if you are a rib thruster and those ribs are kind of not in contact with the floor. Get something under your head to help bring those ribs down, especially when doing shoulder work. You kind of want to be in as good alignment as you possibly can be for shoulder work with the rib cage. So take some deep breaths here. Trying to let the back of the rib cage be heavy down into the floor. And that pelvis in a neutral position. Couple more breaths. And then we're going to take the hands up towards the ceiling. Palms facing in towards each other. Okay. As you inhale, I want you to reach your fingertips as much towards the ceiling as you can, and your shoulder blade will just lift away from the floor. And then as you exhale, you're going to anchor your shoulder blade back down on the floor. Think about anchoring that upper arm bone into the shoulder socket. Let's do that a few times. So as you inhale, you're going to reach your fingertips to the ceiling, shoulder blades lift. And as you exhale, anchor your shoulder blades back down. Keep going. Just notice how that feels. Does it feel the same on both sides? Do you feel like you're moving both arms at the same time? Good. And then as you anchor your shoulder blades down onto the mat this time, you're going to keep those shoulder blades anchored. Keep your hands in the same position. And inhale, start to take your arms overhead towards the floor behind you, only as far as you can without the ribs lifting. And then we're going to exhale and bring the hands back up towards the ceiling. So we're going to move with our breath. We're going to inhale, arms go overhead towards the floor. And exhale as you come back up towards the ceiling. Just go at your own pace. Noticing that point at which your ribs do want to lift. Try it with one arm, so let one arm just relax down and just try one arm and see if it's different. So maybe you can get a little bit further with one arm than you can with both. Making sure that shoulder blade stays anchored on the mat. And then switch and try the other side. Just that single arm. And then let's go back to double arms again. Inhale as your arms go overhead and exhale as you pull back to the ceiling. As your arms come up towards the ceiling this time, we're going to float them all the way down towards your hips. And we're going to go into our floor angels next. So we're going to turn the hands so the palms are facing up towards the ceiling. And you're going to slide the backs of your hands along the floor, out to the sides and up towards your head, making a floor angel. Taking the arm as high as you can without the rib lifting, and then start to slowly bring it back down. So just move at your own pace. Palms are facing up towards the ceiling. Let your arms be soft. Have a little soft elbow so they're not like rigidly locked out. And sometimes even just being in this position and having your arm down on the floor can feel like quite a big stretch through the front of your chest and shoulder. And then we're going to refine this a little bit. So as your hands come down towards your hips this time, we're going to think about that external rotation of the shoulder again. So you're going to really think about rolling your arm bone out, bringing your thumb down towards the floor. Again, let's have a little soft elbow and lift your elbow off the floor. So your thumbs are touching the floor, your elbows are just hovering, and then slide your thumb out along the floor and up towards your head, only as far as you can go without the ribs lifting, and then slowly come back down. So keeping that external rotation the whole time. And it might feel like a lot of work through the chest and the shoulder. And in fact, if you just do one arm and use your other arm to grab kind of the front of the chest wall and just under your armpit, you can feel how much this muscle is working, yeah? As opposed to let your hand just go flat again so that the back of the hand is fully down and you're just sliding that arm out, and you can kind of feel there's not as much work then in that chest wall. Yeah, so we're on that external rotation, and we really want to feel that we're doing some work. You can kind of play with that on both sides again, just making sure that you can feel that you're doing some work and it's not all just relaxed and enjoying itself. So finding that work. And if you've done single arm, you're going to go back to your double arm again. How high can you go without the ribs lifting? And sometimes when you've done a few, you'll start to find that you've got more range of movement there as well. Sometimes you need to do a few of those. Okay, so we're going to go to our log pullover now. So we just did the arm overs without anything to hold, but now we're going to hold it. So go back to your book, your block, half dome, anything that you've got. I'm going to take it up towards the ceiling. If you've got a book or a block, something that you can just hold with a flat hand rather than having to grip, that's even better. But use what you have. We're going to have a soft elbow and then pulling the elbows in towards each other. We're going to again inhale as we take the arms overhead and exhale as you come back up towards the ceiling. So your goal isn't to get whatever you're holding to touch the floor. Is to keep really good alignment here. So elbows pulling in towards each other, not flaring out to the sides, and rib cage staying anchored down onto the floor and not lifting. Keep going. And then let's just add another little layer here to that log pullover, and we're just going to straighten out the legs now. So legs out straight. So they can be squeezing together, they can be hip width, you can let them roll open. And you're going to do the same thing. Inhale as your arms go overhead and exhale as you come back up towards the ceiling. Now if it bothers your lower back with your legs out long, then just go back to that bent leg. Again, soft elbows, elbows drawing in towards each other, don't let them flare out to the sides. Let's do 2 more of these. And last one. Good job. And then as you bring that back up towards the ceiling this time, you can pop it down. Interlace your fingers. Flip your hands over and press your palms up towards the ceiling, stretching into your fingers and your hands. Again, keeping those ribs down. Let's take the arms all the way overhead as far as you can go. Pressing into your hands, stretching. When you're ready, slowly bring your hands back towards the ceiling. Bring your fingers apart, give your fingers a wriggle. Really stretch your fingers wide, getting as much space there as you can. And then circle in your wrists around and reverse, go the other way. And then gently pull in each finger in turn back. Try and keep the fingers straight as you pull them back, rather than letting them buckle and bend at the knuckles. And when you've done them all, you can give them a little wriggle again. And then just lowering your arms down, just bending your knees. Bring your knees into your chest, give your knees a little hug, and let's just rock gently side to side, just releasing any tension and any tightness that you might have created in your lower back while we were just doing that last exercise. So from here, we're going to roll over onto our front now. So take your time, you come over onto your front, and we're going to do a little bit of back extension. So we're going to be really working the muscles of the upper back and the shoulders. Let's have the hands down on the floor, one on top of the other, and rest your forehead down onto your hands. Now notice when you're here, whether your shoulders are up around your ears, and you think about using the muscles underneath your arms pull those shoulder blades down towards your waist. So think about maybe pulling your armpits down towards your waist. If you're finding that really difficult, what you can do is take your arms a little bit further forward. You can bring your hands apart and take your arms further forwards if you need more space. Okay, and then we want to have our pubic bone anchored and our tailbone slightly tucked to bring us into a neutral pelvis. Your legs can be squeezing together or hip width apart. And then from here, we're going to press the hands down into the floor. And as you inhale, you're going to lift the back of the head and the neck and the chest. And then you're going to lower down. So I want you to try and keep your eyes down. So you're not going to lift your chin and look forwards. You're going to keep your eyes down. Watch for the shoulders, trying to sneak up around your ears and try and keep those shoulders down away from your ears. Again, as you lift the head, the neck, and the chest, and lower back down. Notice where you feel the work. So if you're feeling it in your lower back and you're starting to get a lot of compression and tightness there, again think about that tucking of the tailbone, pubic bone anchored to lengthen out this area. And don't come up as high. Feel free to play around with the position of your arms to find where your arms need to be, that you can feel those muscles of your upper back and shoulders working. We're going to do 2 more like this. Notice as you lift, if you're pressing your ribs into the floor, try and keep your ribs pulled into your body rather than pressing into the floor. And then as you lower down this time, bring your hands just in front of your shoulders and push yourself up and back into your child's pose, into that rest position, and reach your arms forwards. Let's just have a little stretch and a little reset of your back here. Walk your fingertips as far forwards as you can and really get a stretch through your arms, your shoulders and your upper back. We're going to do a little bit more now. So we're going to come back onto our front again. And we're going to have our hands in that stop position. So, out to the side. And again, you can kind of play with how wide and how far forwards you need to have your arms to be able to get those shoulder blades to relax down away from your ears. So have a little play with where your arms need to be. Again, pubic bone anchored, tailbone slightly tucked. And you can either have your head resting on the floor or hovering. Okay, so we're going to lift the hands first. So just lift your hands, elbows stay down. Then lift your elbows, and then lift your head and your neck away from the floor. And then we're going to lower the head. We're going to lower the elbows. We're going to lower the hands. Watch for those shoulders sneaking up. Let's go again. We're going to go hands first, then elbows, and then head. Lower your head, lower your elbows, lower your hands. Keep going. Hands, elbows, head, lower the head, lower your elbows, lower your hands. So keep going with that. Noticing again, if you're tending to push your rib cage down into the floor. Try and keep those ribs pulled in. Sometimes you need to think almost about picking the ribs up before you do anything else. If you are a rib thruster, maybe picking those ribs up first. Again, if you're feeling that compression, that tightness in your lower back, make sure you've not lost that pubic bone connection and you've started to let your pelvis tilt the other way. We want to keep that anchor to keep that length in the lower back. Let's do one more like this. And then as you lower down this time, again we're going to push ourselves up and back into that rest position just to give your back and shoulders a little stretch out here. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Okay. So we're going to come on to all fours next. We're going to do some rhomboid push-ups. So fingers spread wide, thumbs point towards each other and elbow pits are forwards. And keeping your arms super straight, you're going to let your shoulder blades come together in your back and then press your shoulder blades wide. Shoulder blades together, shoulder blades wide. So let's keep going here. Really think about squeezing your shoulder blades. And notice when you squeeze your shoulder blades, does that bring your shoulders up towards your ears? Can you again use those muscles underneath your arms to pull your shoulders down and away from your ears to give you a neck so that you don't look like a little tortoise? Can you keep length through the back of your neck? Let's have eyes down on the floor. And we've got that length through the neck. Two more. And then just come on off your hands for a minute. We're going to go back to it in a second, but let's just give our hands a little shake out. Just bring one elbow in by your side and turn your palm up, and then use your other hand to pull those fingers back. So notice the alignment here as you do this exercise. Do you tend to bring that hand across? Can you try and keep it kind of in line with the shoulder? Same with your hand. Do you kind of twist your hand? Can you try and keep it aligned? I'm terrible for bringing it across. And then can you use your, again, other hand to pull and stretch each finger one at a time. And then doing different combinations, so maybe doing two fingers at a time. You're just trying to find the pattern of tension that you have. And then thumbs up, and use your other hand to move your thumb around. You're trying to hold the base of the thumb as you move it around. Right. And then the other side, so elbow tucks in, palm faces up, trying to keep it in line, using your other hand to pull the fingers back. And think about pulling the fingers kind of away from the hand, but then also think about pulling the hand away from the wrist. So you're trying to get wrist extension as well. So, And then where are your shoulders? Are they up around your ears? Can you let your shoulders relax down? And then gently pull in each finger again. Back one at a time. Try not to let the fingers buckle. Do those different combinations. Again, just finding where your tension hides. You don't all do the same things. And then thumbs up. And again, try and grab around the base of the thumb and moving it around. You can do circles or side to side, whatever works for you. Little joystick thumb. We're going to go back to our rhomboid push-up again. And this time we're going to see if we can lift one arm. Okay, so let's find our setup first. So fingers spread wide, thumbs towards each other and elbow pits are forwards. And then once you're happy with that, can you lift one hand and do your little rhomboid push-up here on one side? So if it's too much and you can feel like you're just collapsing, then you can go back to 2. If you're still working on that mobility, then stay with 2. But otherwise, can you just do 1? Shoulder blade together, towards the spine even, and then shoulder blade wide, away from the spine. Can you get that movement on one side? And then, how are your shoulders? Are they up around your ears? Can you get those shoulders away from your ears? And again, have that neck. How about, let's try the other side. So spread your fingers wide, point your thumb in towards the midline, elbow pit forwards. Can you do your rhomboid push-up on this side? And like with everything else, you might have one side that's much better than the other, and that's fine. Just being aware of that. And your shoulders coming up to your ears, can you again think about pulling those shoulders down, away from your ears? Alright, we're going to come off the shoulder again. Off the shoulders, off the hands again. Let's do reverse prayer hands. So bringing the backs of your hands together. Let your fingers just interlace a little bit. Get your thumbs to touch if you can, and then pull your thumbs away from the rest of your fingers. Keeping the backs of your hands together, can you lower those hands down? Try to get your forearm parallel to the floor-ish without losing the backs of the hands touching. Where are your shoulders? Can you let your shoulders relax down? Maybe just turning your head side to side, just moving it around, making sure that you're not starting to create this tension monster that you have to carry around with you. Notice if your fingers are digging into your breastbone. Can you think about pulling those fingers away from your chest a little bit? I want everything, don't I? It's like, just this, and can you add this, and can you do this? Alright, gently, gently let your hands come apart. Give your fingers a little wriggle, maybe a little twirl of your wrists in each direction. A little shake out. Okay, so we just did our rhomboid push-up on a single arm, just trying to get it to mobilise and to be able to hold itself. So now we're going to stabilise our scapula, stabilise the shoulder blade, and see if we can take one hand away from the floor without losing that stability. So come back onto all fours again, fingers spread wide, thumbs point towards each other and elbow pits forwards. Notice where your shoulders are to begin with. Can you pull those shoulders away so that you've got a neck? Okay. And then we don't want the shoulder blades squeezing together. We don't want them super, super wide. We want those stable shoulders, so it's kind of halfway between those 2 points. And then once you feel like your shoulder blade is going to be flat on your back, can you lift one hand off the floor without losing that stability? And maybe you can reach your hand over your shoulder and have a feel at that shoulder blade. Is it nice and flat? And then can you place that hand down? Can you switch to the other side? So can you lift your other hand off the floor? Again, maybe can you get your hand over your shoulder to kind of find, is that shoulder blade flat on that side or has it winged or dipped? And then we're just going to lift one hand at a time away from the floor. Just keep switching sides whilst trying to keep your shoulder blades still. Super stable. Can you hold one shoulder? And it's quite a lot of work. And if you do kind of find yourself dropping, then kind of pick yourself back up. Use your muscles to pick you back up rather than staying in that collapsed position. Yeah. Alright, do one more on each side. And then you're going to come down onto your elbows. Let's have left hand with the palm down. We're going to turn the right hand over and we're going to thread that right palm behind your left elbow. So we're going to do a little thread the needle here. You're going to twist your upper body to look towards that right arm that you're threading through. But I don't want you to just drop down and collapse towards the floor. So I want this to be quite active. So you're just going to hold yourself here, reaching that arm through, getting that stretch through your shoulders and your upper back. And just take a couple of breaths here. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So bring your arm through, placing that right arm down, left arm, palm faces up. And we're going to reach that left arm through, again, twisting your upper body. And don't allow yourself to collapse down into the mat. We're going to hold ourselves here, making it a little bit more active. Reaching that left arm through and just hold there for a couple of breaths. Good. And then bringing your arm back through, we're going to turn the hands over now so that your palms face up towards the ceiling. Let's have the same distance between your hands as you have your elbows. And can you try and get each of your fingernails and your thumb down onto the floor? So if you have a lot of tension through your hands, your thumbs are going to peel away from the floor and your palms are going to want to face towards each other. So we're going to really work on opening out. Take a few breaths there. And then we're going to hinge back. So you're not going to sit your bottom all the way back towards your heels, but you're going to pull your bottom back. You're going to let your chest and your head drop down towards the floor. And you maybe can slide your arms a little bit further forwards. You can let your head rest down and hold here. Now notice, have your thumbs peeled up away from the floor? They probably have. Can you think about opening them out? You may not get them all the way down to the floor, but just do what you can. Think about that opening out. As you hold here for a few breaths. And then slowly come on up and out of that. Give your hands a little shake. Give your shoulders a little roll. Turn your head gently, super gently from side to side. Alright, we're going to lie down again. So come back down onto your back with your knees bent. I'm going to do a wimble stretch here. So I want you to lift your hips up and just take them to your right, a couple of inches. So lift your hips up and slide them to the right. Straighten out your left leg, bring your right leg into tabletop, and you're going to roll onto your left side, bringing that right knee all the way down to the floor. Okay, so left arm can come around to cradle your head, or you can grab a cushion or a block or something if you need to. Now that left leg that's out long, I want you to press it out, so push out through your heel, make that leg super long and stable and straight, rather than it just kind of being all floppy and not doing anything. So we want that nice stable leg. And then we're going to take our right arm up towards the ceiling. Spread your fingers wide. Can you think about reaching your fingertips towards the ceiling? And then start to take your arm overhead towards the floor, like you're trying to get your thumb down to touch the floor. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, it doesn't matter. And then bring that arm back up towards the ceiling. So we're going to play with this a little bit. We're going to do a few of these. Watch as your arm goes overhead that your rib cage doesn't lift. So we don't want this rib cage having to lift to get that arm there. The rib cage stays down and arm just goes over. And it's fine to have a little soft elbow, but notice as you take your arm overhead, are you bending at the elbow to get your thumb to touch? Can you just keep that length through the arm, just a little soft elbow. As your arm comes up towards the ceiling this time, hold it there. Notice whether your shoulders are up around your ears. Again, can you use those muscles to pull your shoulders down, way to give yourself a neck. And then take that right arm back behind you. You can allow your upper body to twist a little bit so you can kind of see where it's gone, but don't let your pelvis or your leg twist. So it's just your arm, your upper body can twist. Hold here. And let's just move that arm around a little bit. So we've got our palm facing up towards the ceiling, just moving your arm around a little bit, playing with the range of movement that you have there. Might feel like a big stretch through your chest, through your shoulder. And you're not trying to force anything, you're not trying to make your body go where it doesn't want to go. You're just playing with the tension there, noticing which areas it moves freely, where you've got restriction, and then just moving gently through those areas. Alright. I'm going to bring that arm all the way back up towards the ceiling and then gently releasing that arm down. We're going to do the same on the other side. So roll yourself onto your back. Bend your knees again. Lift your hips up and slide your hips to the left a couple of inches. Straighten out your right leg this time. Bringing your left leg into tabletop, and you're going to roll yourself over onto your right side. Bringing that left knee down to the floor, and again you can cradle your head with your right hand, that bottom hand. Taking that left arm up towards the ceiling, spread your fingers wide, and again reaching that arm towards the ceiling. How's that bottom leg? How's that right leg? Can you straighten that leg out, push out through your heel so it's nice and stable? And then can you take that arm, top arm overhead, bringing your thumb down towards the floor and then reaching back up towards the ceiling. So again, making sure that it's just the arm that's moving and you haven't got your whole rib cage lifted. Keep reaching. Notice again, is your elbow bending massively to try and cheat and get your thumb down to the floor? We can have a soft elbow, but we don't want to have it so the movement's just coming from the elbow. And again, as you take your arm up towards the ceiling, spread those fingers wide. Can you start to take that arm back behind you? Again, you can just take the arm if you want and just kind of play around with the arm without allowing any twist from your upper body. Both of those are really good movements. Knee stays down, pelvis stays still. And again, you're just playing with that range of movement that you have behind you. Is it different on this side? How's that bottom leg? Has it gone all floppy? Can you again get that leg nice and straight? Giving you some stability. Good. Alright, and then when you're ready, slowly bring that arm back up towards the ceiling. Lowering your arm down, just roll yourself onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest, give your knees a little hug, and just rock gently side to side, just ironing out any tension. Giving your back a little reset. We're going to come up to seated now, so take your time, but come on up to find a seated position. And if you feel more comfortable with a cushion or a block or something to sit on, feel free to grab whatever you need. And then we're going to have our elbows into our sides and our palms facing up towards the ceiling. And then let your shoulders relax down away from your ears. And can you open your arms out to the sides? So arms open out and come back in. And you might have a really good range here, you might not have very much range here, it doesn't matter, just notice what's normal for you. Maybe do one arm and see what range you have on that side, and then do the same on the other side and just notice, is it the same on both sides or do you have one that's better than the other? And then bring your awareness to your shoulder blades. So what's happening in your back? As your hands go together, your shoulder blades are moving further apart, and then as your arms open out, your shoulder blades are coming in towards the spine, towards each other. So can you find that movement as you open out and bring back in? Alright. And then as you bring your hands back towards the front, so shoulder blades have gone wide, can you try and keep your shoulder blades wide now as you open your arms out? That's really tricky, and you might not even be sure whether it's moving or not, and that's fine. Bring your hands back in. So again, think about that shoulder blade on your back. Do you need to again think about anchoring that shoulder blade down to stop it from coming up towards your ears? And can you stabilise your scapula, stabilise those shoulder blades as you open out? And don't worry about what range you have there, that's fine. And then we're holding those shoulder blades still, and we're going to open out and hold here. And can you start now to reach your arms out to the side, so letting your elbows come away from your sides. We're in that external rotation, we're trying to keep those shoulder blades, your scapula, again nice and still, and then just bringing your elbows back down to your sides. Again, can you keep the shoulder blades still as you reach your arms out? And bring them back in. Let's do one more time. Can you reach your arms and release all the way back in? Let's do some shoulder circles here. Remember how we did those really exaggerated shoulder circles? Let's do those. Get in as much movement there as you possibly can, and then go the other way. And even this just feels so good. Alright. Gently turning your head side to side. And then let's do a little head tilt, so dropping your ear down towards your shoulder on each side. Alright, and then relax. You are done.